circle.
So are you Longhorn because of where you're from, or did you go? Or
yeah,
what?
well, I was enrolled to go to UT in 2000 when I graduated high school, and then I got a role on a show called Gilmore Girls out here in LA. And
I've heard of that show.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Yes, it was.
It was a good show.
It's a good show.
Had
a nice run.
It had a nice run. I was initially hired to do 4 episodes, just guest star. I ended up doing 5 years, but I had a few grants and a few scholarships to go to UT, and then I went out to LA and did Gilmore Girls. And this is a strange story maybe, but I remember my first paycheck. It was because it was $1,234, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
And growing up pretty simple in San Antonio, I was like, I'm rich, bitch. So it's like, UT's been there for over 100 years. I'm gonna stay here, like make some ramen money. And so
ramen money, ladies and gentlemen. I like it.
I can buy my own ramen now.
Yes.
No, but I legitimately I thought, I'll see how far this goes and pay off my student loans.
Yeah.
And so UT has been there for a while. I figured still be there when my 6-month stint in LA finished, and that was 23 years ago. So kind of stayed busy.
Fantastic. I love that numerology is something that you saw.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me a story that the check was like Colt McCoy's number followed
No.
by Ricky Williams' number.
Well, there was no Colt McCoy yet. That was
okay.
it was 23 years ago.
McCoy?
It was year 2000.
Damn.
Yeah.
How old were you when you were on Gilmore Girls?
I was 17 when I shot the pilot. I did it till I was 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Your wife is sitting here, so I can't ask any more stories.
It would
about
have been
that.
like Major Applewhite money. It would have been like, this, you know what I mean?
Major Applewhite money. By the way, write that down. That's a great fantasy team name.
Major Applewhite money.
Major Applewhite money. It's a great fantasy
like
team name. Major Applewhite is a name I don't think we've ever said.
Oh,
here.
one of the greatest comebacks.
How much Gilmore Girls do you even get today? A ton still, or you're just such a grown-ass man now that you're somewhat unrecognizable? When it comes
what's
to
funny is that I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
A lot. When I was on Gilmore Girls, it was pre whatever it's called, not TiVo.
Yeah.
We can record it and watch it, and so I didn't see a lot of the episodes. I just kind of went to work.
DVR or anything like
DVR,
that?
DVR.
Yeah, sure.
There was no
TiVo,
Netflix.
though. I think that's Major Applewhite.
That's Major. Yes, exactly.
Recording, yes. Right.
So I didn't. It wasn't really a big show at the time, and I didn't see a lot of it. I was busy auditioning for other roles and this and that, and so it was after I left Gilmore Girls that people would start coming up and saying, "Oh my God, Team Dean or Team Jess or whatever."
Yes.
I was like, "Oh wow!" Like I think I got recognized a lot more. And since I think pandemic, a lot of people binged it.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's such a family-friendly show that if you're sitting there with your kids and you can either watch an animated show or something that you would also enjoy, and so it's kind of made a return. So it's been fun.
That is pretty cool. Who's the least expected fan of Gilmore Girls to reveal to you?
Oh gosh,
I was a fan of Gilmore Girls.
Okay, I was at I shot a movie in Richmond, Virginia when it was a pretty dangerous spot. This would have been 2003.
Okay,
and there was a bunch of us. We were all early 20s. We were playing like prep school kids, and it was a kind of horror thriller called Cry Wolf. And we had areas of like, it was low budget. So like, hey, don't go to this part of town. Don't go to Tobacco Row, blah, blah, blah. Y'all should stay around here. Like, yeah. Long story short, we ended up filming at a location that's near one of the dangerous spots, but we're like, hey, it's almost closed. Let's just get a drink at a bar. Like, it's going to be fine. There are 6 of us. We walk in. As soon as I walk in, there's this big, scary looking dude. And he just immediately kind of latches onto me. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh God. They told us not to go here. This is how it ends. Like, this is how I die. Because he wouldn't stop staring at me. And so I would do the thing where you kind of like, you look to see if, like, hey man, like trying to be as, meek as possible. And we go order our drinks and sit down at one of the tables. And he's still kind of like just mad dogging me. I'm like, what did I do to the guy? Like, man. And, maybe 10 minutes passes and he gets up and he starts walking over towards me. And my heart, I gotta change my underwear. And he kind of gets over, and I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna get beat up. And I would have just run, but there were like young ladies, and so I was like, I can't leave them to get beat up. He comes over and he kind of looks around, and he looks really suspicious, and he leans in and goes, "You on the Gilmore Girls?" I was like, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Oh, I knew it. It's him. It's him." And I was like, you know, yeah. So
Another round.
Yeah, I think I swiftly went to the bathroom, threw away my underwear. But that was probably one of the strangest. But I've met a few. They kind of run together.
I love stories like that.
Yeah, there are a lot of
funny,
big.
man.
I think a lot of manly men.
Yes.
Types. Their spouses would watch it with their daughters, and so it'd just be on in the background, and they maybe sit down and watch it. And so
This Gilmore Girls is not too bad.
look at that. Yeah, it's coming around.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was good.